How is diaphragm support and emotion connected? I'm Roxy. I'm the owner of Voicercise, and I'm a third-generation owner of the company. Voicercise specifically will teach you about how to use your voice to understand the skills of pop, R&B, rock, rap, hip-hop. One of the biggest things that have changed over the course of pop music becoming a thing, pop just means popular, which means stuff of today, being created today, is the way we use our breath. If you think about it, there are certain emotions that you use regularly that ensure you're using your diaphragm properly. For instance, I have never in my life met a person who was angry at another person and stopped yelling because they ran out of breath. I've never in my life saw somebody that was so excited because they just won $1 million or a bunch of money or something happened exciting at school who couldn't talk a mile a minute until they were done telling you about what they were going to say. At no point do excited people stop to breathe. That is because these emotions tell the diaphragm to be strong and to be used in a very specific way. If a person runs down the street and runs out of breath, they do this. Why do they do that? Because lifting up their cheeks and creating that emotion tells their diaphragm to be strong. So what type of emotions will stop you from being able to use your diaphragm properly? These would be negative emotions. So if you're singing a really high note that requires a lot of confidence and instead you feel nervous, how are you going to breathe? That's called breathing from the chest. You're using a lot less diaphragm when you're doing that. And that is why emotion and diaphragm support are really super crazy connected. Well, some of the things that you can learn about being able to use your diaphragm when you sing with proper emotion is learning what the muscles are doing to create sound in the first place. Your diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle located in your body underneath your lungs. It is shaped like this. So when you breathe in, your diaphragm is going to do this. And when you breathe out, your diaphragm is going to do this. And these things happen 1,000,000 times every single day, no matter who you are, which means scientifically, based upon current MRIs, CAT scans, and ultrasound machines, you are always using your diaphragm. Any person who tells you that you can't sing well because you're not using your diaphragm doesn't understand science. At no point are you ever not using your diaphragm, because your diaphragm is the muscle that makes you breathe. So if you've stopped breathing, you're no longer alive, let alone singing. If you don't believe me, I suggest looking on Wikipedia or asking a doctor or a scientist if it's possible to be alive and breathing without using your diaphragm. A better way to think about it is you can use your diaphragm more or less, but never or not at all. And the goal of singing well is by using your diaphragm more. There are some emotions, like I mentioned, that make you use your diaphragm more. But if you're feeling nervous when you're supposed to be singing a confident note, you now have to learn how to use your diaphragm more until your body starts feeling the right emotion and you have your confidence and it starts working for you. So a majority of your breath control drills, the application is going to be during times that you feel nervous. And your whole thing is making sure that your diaphragm doesn't start messing up as soon as you start feeling nervous, so that you can control your diaphragm even though you feel nervous or uncomfortable or unsure of yourself. And that is the goal of Voicercise. You have a whole bunch of muscles that you're using when you sing, and it's really hard to control muscles that you don't know exist. There are actually 8 major muscles that you use when you sing pop and R&B music. And if you're not knowing that those muscles exist, it's very hard to control them, and it's very hard to create consistency. Now, if you think about it, consistency is the ability to know what's going to happen before it happens. Or if you've ever sung an amazing song and it sounded really great, and the next day you sing the same song and it sounded not really great, not knowing why it sounded great the first time is why you couldn't sing it the same the second time. You got to know what you're doing. So your diaphragm is one of the muscles you use when you sing. And the goal would be when you sing well and it sounds good, you know exactly what your diaphragm did to create that. So that every time you do that thing, you're able to use your diaphragm in the exact same way and it always sounds the same. That is how you create consistency. And from consistency creates confidence. So today we're going to do an exercise which is going to help you understand how to use your diaphragm no matter what emotion you're feeling. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to take our diaphragm, which is right in here, and we're going to become more aware of it as we breathe. So I want you to breathe in for me and breathe out. Good. Did you notice that my chest slightly raised? We'll do that again. And most people, when they're breathing, put their attention on their chest, which is their lungs. You have very few movable muscles in your lungs, so it's very hard to control. When you breathe in, your diaphragm is going to move down and your lungs are going to move up. So it's going to feel like this. When you're trying to control your diaphragm, you have to put your attention on your diaphragm and not your lungs. So you can breathe in and put your attention on your lungs and have very little control, or you can breathe in and put your attention on your diaphragm and have a lot of control. And that's what you do naturally when you have strong emotions that make you feel powerful or really upset or crying a whole bunch. Like people that cry don't run out of breath really either. They cry for way too long and are still fine and don't run out of breath, right? So what we're going to do now is called a diaphragmatic breath. I'm sure you've heard of this or done this at your doctor's office or whatever. This is to learn in a new unit of time. It is important when you're training with your voice to always do it in now and not the past or the future. But now, what can you learn about it? Because you can watch a movie 4 or 5 times and every time you watch it, you'll learn something new because you understand more. That's how training works, okay? So what I want you to do is we're going to breathe in until we cannot breathe in any further. I want you to breathe in until all of your diaphragm is touching your belly button. And if you can't feel it, your attention is in the wrong spot. You are definitely able to do this drill, I promise you. You need to breathe in until all of your diaphragm is in your belly button, or you cannot put another ounce of air into your body, okay? Here we go. Breathe all the way in for me. Good. Do you feel a tightness right here? Okay, take your attention off your chest. Right here. Feel the tightness. Good, good. Now breathe all the way out. If you do that, you'll feel your diaphragm move to the top of your rib cage. That is the most amount that your diaphragm can push out. And I promise you, you're not doing that very often when you're singing, are you? So if you think you can take this much air in and then push this much air out, that's just a really bad math problem. That's a really bad scientific equation. You have to take as much air in as you expect to come out. And when you sing a really loud high note, it's going to use a lot of air. So you have to bring enough air into your body to create the sound coming out, like you are confident and have a strong, amazing emotion, even though you don't. And that's the magic of breathing when you're singing pop and R&B music. Now, I hope that that helps you, that it is an exercise that you can do regularly, especially if you're feeling nervous, especially if you're about to go on stage and sing at your church or karaoke or play or something like that. And when you do that, your body will kind of unlock that tension and you'll remember to breathe, and you'll have to do that when you're singing too. If you want more tips and tricks, please contact me on the website below. Voicercise is a company that I've been running for 17 years myself. I have a few of my advanced students I have trained into specific niches, say being able to sing pop music, or someone could specifically teach you how to sing gospel music with all the amazing runs and harmonies and stuff. You can learn how to songwrite all by yourself so that you know how to do that and you don't feel stupid when you're writing songs. And we have people that specifically work in each of those niches. And what I can do for you is do a one-on-one introductory lesson so I can properly assign you to an instructor that works best for you. Don't worry, I also teach myself, so if you want to work with me as well, I'm super happy to work with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.